The Secret Youth of the Immortal Violins. Welcome to the Stradivari podcast. Today I will take you on a journey into the craft of violin making. Sit back and imagine you are in a small workshop somewhere in Cremona. Sunlight streams through old windows onto workbenches where pieces of wood lie, spruce, maple. The scent of resin fills the air. It is quiet. Only the soft scraping of wood under skilled hands can be heard. Here, in such spaces, violins are born. Not just instruments, but voices. Voices made of wood. But before a violin can sound, it must wait. Or rather, the wood must wait. For one of the oldest beliefs in violin making is that good tone wood needs time. 10 years at least. 15 is better. Some even say, the older, the better. The wood must rest, dry, breathe, settle. Only then is it ready to become an instrument. And yet, as so often in history, someone eventually comes along and turns everything upside down. In this case, it was Stradivari, the name that sounds like a magic word to many. Antonio Stradivari, the master from Cremona, whose violins are worth millions today, whose sound continues to fascinate musicians and scientists alike to this day. What we know today about Stradivari is not based on legends, but on research, and above all, on very concrete data. In our 8 volumes on the work of Antonio Stradivari, we have examined around 300 of his instruments dendrochronologically through the expert Arjan Versteeg. Dendrochronology, that is the science of tree rings, it allows us to determine exactly when a tree grew and when it was felled. And what we have discovered contradicts pretty much everything that has been believed so far. Stradivari did not rely on decades-old, slowly dried wood at all. On the contrary, many of the woods he used were only a few years old at the time of processing. Sometimes just 4 or 5 years after felling. This means that Stradivari used very fresh wood, at least by today's standards. And yet, or perhaps precisely because of this, his violins still sound incredibly good today. How is that possible? Was his hearing so refined that he knew which wood would work without long storage? Did he have a special supplier? Or an instinct for the exact moisture, the perfect moment, the right ratio of density and elasticity? We do not know for sure. What we do know is that the myth of ancient, eternally seasoned tone wood is, at least in the case of Stradivari and some of his contemporary colleagues, a debunked myth. Of course, this does not mean that wood does not need time. On the contrary, there are many good reasons why violin makers today store their wood for years. The wood changes. It becomes more stable, uniform, and reliable. It cracks less and warps less easily. Especially in a world where instruments not only need to sound good, but also travel across borders, withstand climatic fluctuations, and last for decades, this is an advantage. But it also shows that there is not just one right way. Stradivari did what worked for him. Perhaps it was intuition, perhaps experience, or maybe just pragmatism. What matters is the result, and that is still audible today. So, when you walk through a modern violin-making workshop today, where the wood is carefully stacked, catalogued, and stored for years, you can see that the tradition continues. But it is not set in stone. There is also movement, questions, and new insights in violin making. What remains is the fascination for an instrument that is born from a piece of wood, for the moment when wood becomes sound, and for the quiet sense that perhaps there is a little magic between the lock and the bow stroke, or at least a damn good instinct. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in again to the Stradivari podcast. Subscribe and share it with others, and continue to join us on this acoustic journey into the fascinating world of string instruments. Stay curious. We'll hear from each other.